Singer Joyvilla was the talk of this year's Grammys.
Her I Make the Static album.
Pro-life singer, #1 on iTunes and Amazon. Political run maybe in her future.
Conservative woman who is sharing my beliefs, unifying for the country and unifying under our president. Swamp needs to be drained when Hollywood is just rehashing the same old thing and they're patting themselves on the back about it. I'd like to use the publicity for something positive. There's always going to be backlash whenever you make a bold statement, whenever you be yourself. And for me as an artist, you know, I want to use my platform to really reach people on the level that I feel is real.
Pop culture, politics, and entertainment. This is the Joyvilla Show with your host, Joy Villa.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Joy Villa Show. Today's topic will be good people on both sides. Now, you might remember the now iconic quote by President Donald J. Trump after the Charlottesville Riots. Now, in Charlottesville, if you're not familiar, this was last year. It's now been a year later. And there was a protest or gathering. I guess it was not a protest. It was more like a rally or gathering, or I guess you could call it a protest, by some white supremacist style guys, right? So they had tiki torches. They had their white tucked in shirts. I mean, they were absolute dorks. And I don't agree with their beliefs whatsoever. They want a white America only. They're separatists, right? They are racists. So those guys were gathered peacefully, and they did get a permit in Charlottesville, and they were marching. It was around a statue. So they were marching and, you know, blah, 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 blah. So first of all, there was only probably maybe 200 tops of these guys, maybe 100. And, you know, with their comebacks and their tidy whities. And I mean, we're talking absolute, you know, never got laid in high school, excuse me. But not that that's necessarily a bad thing. But, you know, these are the kind of guys who have anger issues from a young age because women ignored them and they didn't get the toys that daddy bought the other kids and, you know, whatnot. So not that this whole focus is on those guys, but those were the focus of the media. And we had Antifa, which is a notoriously violent group. I believe it originated out of San Francisco. It's extremists. They're socialists. They're hard left. They advocate violence against those that they disagree with. So one of their slogans is punch a Nazi. And then you say, well, okay, you know, I don't agree with Nazis. Of course, they're disgusting. But how do you verify someone is a Nazi? And basically, they are a Trump supporter. So it's one of those kind of groups, right? And they're wild, they're crazy, they're violent, they wear masks, they are terroristic style. They've sort of positioned themselves like a American ISIS. You know, they wear the black masks and they hit people, they punch people. I mean, innocent people who are standing by who are wearing, you know, MAGA hats and things that they don't agree with, which is, of course, violent and unconstitutional, you know, regarding free speech and disgusting. So Antifa, however you say it, it stands for anti-fascist, by the way. It's an acronym for anti-fascist. So maybe that's not an acronym, but it's two words put together, whatever that is called. So they started this riot against these, what are they called? Alt-righters. These white guys with their tiki torches and their, you know, hush puppies. And I mean, things got out of control. So now the media is full on paying attention. I think they were paying attention anyways because I think it was really, the reports say it was only like 150 of these white guys. And I don't care. Honestly, I don't care as long as you're not hurting people, as long as you're not burning crosses on somebody's yard and wearing your white hoods, covering your face, and then, you know, murdering Black and Jewish families. As long as you're not harming anyone, children, women, or men, you can go about your business. This is America. There is a variety, a smorgasbord of belief systems here. And I will not agree with them all, but I will fight to the death to uphold your right to believe what you believe. That is our First Amendment right. So these guys, these dorks, were gathering, and the Antifa came up and started hitting them and starting fights. And, they look like the guys that they're trying to fight. They look like black-clothed Nazis. And then we have a police, if you can hear that. I am in my West Hollywood new office, by the way, if you're hearing the background. You might hear some of the beach sounds. You might hear some of the crazy Los Angeles sounds. Welcome to my world. So it's beautiful out here, though. It's very sunny. It's gorgeous. The sun feels great on my skin. It's fresh air. Wherever you are listening from, I wish you good weather today. Good weather this summer and beyond. So we go back to this group. Now that I've set the scene for you, I mean, it became an all-out massacre almost. People were getting hit and bleeding, and the news was interfering, and we had right-wingers, left-wingers, everyone coming in and recording this mess. And I spoke out publicly quite a bit on how this is wrong, and we need unity, and America is not a racist country. I mean, we work hard to correct our rights, correct our faults, and to make things right, and to bring about humanitarian endeavors whenever we can. America contributes the most to charities and has rectified many of our past sins. But we learn from history. And yes, there is a lot of racists and racism throughout the world. And in America, it's no exception. There are racists here. But are they the majority? No. Are there prejudiced? Of course. We still have a lot of kinks to straighten out, if you will. We have a lot of problems in America, but we are correcting our faults and pushing for more human rights. I mean, that's why a lot of the work I do, I work with Youth for Human Rights, work with the Way to Happiness Foundation. I work to get drugs off the streets, violence from, criminals who are in the justice system, who are they get stuck there. They go out, they keep committing petty crimes, and because of their rap sheet, they go right back in. I work to help get these guys some help with Criminon and other organizations. So I'm really, really hoping to make a change in the world. And as I'm sure many of you, my listeners are as well. My Joy Tribe is quite philanthropic. There we go. And it's important. But one of the things I know that is not right is to hit people or hurt people or attack others in any way. I mean, we learned that on the schoolyard. Don't hit others. Don't hurt others. We know what's right and wrong. It's one of the biggest things that differentiates us from animals is as a spiritual being, you were created to love one another, to help one another, and to respect each other. And of course, we know that hitting somebody is wrong, unless it's in self-defense. And even then, I'd prefer to just walk away and call the cops if there's a opportunity to do so. I believe in fighting back with a pen, fighting back with my voice, but violent altercations, thank God I've never been in a fist fight or a violent fight. I've had people try to start one with me, get ghetto up in the club, and I've never had to. I'm also quite tall. I'm 5'10". And most of you who have not met me, when you do meet me at the conferences and things I go to, you're very delightfully surprised and shocked to realize how tall I am. I am 5'10", 5'11" with my hair. And if I'm wearing high heels, I am 6 feet, definitely, with my afro. So, I say all that to say that the Charlottesville riots went down in history because there was a girl there, a young white girl who got ran over by a car. So all of this nonsense led to this girl getting hit by a car and dying. It led to a literal murder, a killing. And that wouldn't have happened had Antifa not interfered. And all these groups, the police officers were there at first, and then they left as the riots got underway. They left it alone. They should have pepper sprayed the whole lot, in my opinion, and just got everybody out there. Once it started getting wild, you just, smoke screen it or whatever, get everyone out of there. But it's unfortunate for these dudes that I don't at all associate with anything good, these racist white guys. I mean, they still don't deserve to be punched and hit. These guys were not calling for violence. They were doing their own thing, however asinine and stupid. They were saying something like, white America, we need our America back, something stupid. But that does not call for violence. It's just like if it was a black pride parade and was like, we need all black America only, no white people. It wouldn't call for violence. I mean, even if someone's speaking out, even it's a hate group for sure. Those guys are a hate group. Those dudes there. And I'm being nicer because, I'm not going to get down into my straight up anger because it doesn't have to be an emotional reaction. It doesn't have to be a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, they are idiots. Everyone with a mind that works knows that. So what do you do with idiots and a kid who's throwing a tantrum? You ignore them. What do you do with idiots? You ignore them unless you can educate them. And that's usually one-on-one. You don't talk to the mob. You cannot educate a mob mentality. So we see that this mob just attracted another mob. And, right or wrong, it all went down. And it was wrong the way things happened. And this poor girl got hit. And she was part of the other side, protesting the protesters. It just became disgusting. And the hypocrisy of it is it's okay to hurt people if I disagree with their beliefs. That is not true. So the president, now that you know the whole backstory and relived it with me, this happened in 2017, by the way. January, I believe. Maybe it was March 2017. Early in the year. Might have been June. It's been a crazy couple years. Very exciting. In the beginning of 2017. And the president said there were good people on both sides. And he was critically lambasted. Everyone said he should have reacted. He should have called out the Nazis, the white supremacists. They shouldn't have been there. And they were white supremacists. I don't know if they were Nazis. I mean, that's kind of debatable. I mean, who really cares? It's semantics. But they were definitely white supremacists, these guys. And then you have violent supremacists who are supposed to be anti-fascists, acting as fascists and demanding that, shut up or die, shut up or get hit, shut up or get hurt, which is never okay. No matter the opinion, that's not the way that you educate people, period. And I think we can all agree on that. So the president came out and, and I'm of two minds because I have two different people who were sort of yakking in my ear. I have a lot of friends who do support the president and, were of African-American descent, even who were Hispanic, even who were white, who said he should have reacted right away. He was wrong in stalling and taking too much time. He should have called out the Nazis. He should have called out the white supremacists and said that they were wrong, period. Because he waited, I think it was only a day, as the news broke out. He waited about a day, maybe 2 days. And you know how the news cycle is. It's very like, as soon as it's up on Twitter, it's trending and you have 30 minutes to remark on something, which is wild these days. Everything moves so fast. You have live streams, everything was live streamed as well. So it's you can remark while it's still happening. It's a different sort of news style than our parents' news style. Baby boomers, you remember newspapers. My gosh, we don't even know what that is these days. So that's one argument. The other argument is because he did come out later. He waited, I think it was a day and a half, 2 days to say, I do condemn the violence, but there was good people on both sides. And then he did say something against what was happening. He doesn't agree with it. The other side is the president doesn't know what's happening exactly as it's happening. I mean, you can say, yes, you can see it as it's happening, but he's the president of the United States. He's not some random blogger who can just remark on a live stream and not have too much fallout or, it's sort of like a kid in the basement who can just vlog about it. This is the president. And I'm almost positive he's got other matters on his hands. I mean, there's definitely national security and, human trafficking issues and all the violence that happens in America between gang violence and criminal justice reform and businesses and jobs and taxes and healthcare, all the things he's dealing with, especially at that time, a year ago from this date. You can't expect him to absolutely react right away. And sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. And that's his prerogative. And I think that he was waiting to see what was the outcome, what was really going on. And for me, so that's the other argument, right? That he did react properly and he did take his time, because how could he have known? For me, this is my end argument about it. I think that the president did react properly, but I also think he could have done with just making a statement right away saying, I don't agree with the white supremacists, because he knows that the media is going to get on him. And I just think sometimes you do have to PR it. I mean, authentically, but you have to put some public relations on it. Now, people saying he has never come back, come out and attack the white supremacy and the Nazis. Now, that's a lie. He has come out, and I've defended him on this publicly 40 times. Over 40 times, he has said he is no part of the KKK. He wants no part of the KKK, and he does not endorse it. He does not accept their endorsements. They also endorsed Hillary Clinton. I mean, any joker with a white hood can just go up there and start triggering people. He's an asshat. They're asshats, those people. They're idiots. Ignore them. Don't give them attention. So, the David Duke controversy, that guy he was voting for Hillary. So it became all convoluted. But the president has come out multiple times throughout his career, being 70-something years old and in the spotlight for a long time. You think these arguments haven't come against him before? Of course, he's a white man. Unfortunately, they can just say any white man is a Nazi sympathizer with no proof whatsoever. So my viewpoint is he has come out and condemned them. And everybody on the right side, Republicans have come out and condemned them and distanced themselves from these alt-righters. Alt-right is not right-wing, just like alt-left is not really left-wing, you would think. But now we're seeing more and more calls for violence. Now, flash forward a year plus later in 2018, and we see prominent people like Maxine Waters, Congresswoman, calling for people to attack and to run out those of the Republican Party in public places. We see, Bondi, who is the she is the district attorney, I believe, for Florida, one of my home states where my family is, being spit on and harassed by 3 men, large men, in public. We see Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the press secretary, being kicked out, her whole family being thrown out of a Red Hen restaurant in Virginia, and then being chased down the street from the next restaurant. You see violence, you see attacks, you see verbally, just disgusting because somebody's wearing a red hat. That is not okay. That is not okay. I do not condone these attacks against anyone on any side for whatever reason. I'm telling you, the lowest of low, the pedophiles of society, the people who harm, traffic, and hurt children, who drug children and hurt them, they don't deserve to be violently attacked in public. It's not the Roman times. Now, I will say, though, they deserve to be put in jail. And I do think violently attacked while they're in jail. Let the criminals get what's coming to them through the court of law. But if we were to, let's just say, and I might have lost some listeners on this because I am vehemently opposed to pedophilia. I hate pedophiles. I hate people who hurt children. I love children and I love the weakest of these. That is why I'm pro-life, because I love babies and I want to protect them, and the lives that cannot protect themselves, they need to be protected. So all lives, though, deserve to be looked at as innocent until proven guilty. So if somebody is a reported pedophile, I don't want you to go and cut his dick off in public. I mean, come on now. We don't know if that's true yet. Make sure it's through the court of law. Now, we do need better criminal justice reform. We need reform so that these pedophiles can get not just 6 months, but can get life death sentences, because that's not okay. We need better justice for the victims. We need a whole system overhaul, but you cannot take it into your own hands. So I went very extreme with that. But let's just say that we're not even talking about a criminal assumption. We're talking about a political assumption. On Twitter, I just saw someone who was right-wing spouting off a left-wing rhetoric with quotation marks, and he's a reporter for the Federalist, and Sean something. And people assumed he was quoting them himself, and they started attacking him. And the quote he was saying was, let's get rid of the Christians, let's get rid of the Republicans, and take away your guns, you whack jobs. And he was sort of just quoting the extremist views, and then he was saying, but they also say, no, don't be homophobic, don't be a hater, same person. Now he put quotes around those quotes, quotation marks. And people missed the quotation marks and thought this guy was a blue check mark and is a right-wing reporter for right-wing online, publication. They thought that he was quoting himself. They missed the punctuation, and they proceeded to attack him on Twitter. They attacked him with violent threats. Someone said, "You're going to taste my red bullet. You're going to..." I mean, it was ridiculous. And people were going, you guys, look at the quotation marks. He's quoting the leftist views, the extremist views. He's not saying this himself. People are like, oh, this guy, let's find out where he lives. I mean, he was getting like death threats. When you say you're going to taste my red bullet, that's a death threat. They were saying he's an idiot. They were saying, oh, he's ugly. He never had sex as a teenager. He was beaten as a kid. Someone said his mom should have aborted him. I mean, what? I get those same things, by the way, by leftists. But to see right-wingers do this to another right-winger who was exposing the hypocrisy of the left shows the hypocrisy of both sides. You can't say that you don't want to be attacked for your beliefs if you then go ahead, assuming that this person has those beliefs, attack someone else for their beliefs. It's not okay. It's just not okay. And I want to quote the president and say there are good people on both sides, just like there are bad people on both sides. Let go of the cult-like mentality. If you have blind allegiance to the president, blind allegiance to all his followers, blind allegiance to one party, you are doing yourself a disservice. You must look at each issue, each person, each politician, and each thing as its own thing. You must look at it. You must weigh the facts, look at both news sources, take into consideration other viewpoints, be able to have another person's viewpoint. When someone tells you it's green, but you believe that it's brown, like an olive green color, don't just automatically say that that person is stupid and that you hate them and you're going to find their kids and kill them. I mean, I'm using that as an extreme humor, but that's what I see online. Why don't you say, well, I guess I could see how it could be seen as green, but I still believe in my heart of hearts that it is brown. But I appreciate you telling me, I respect your opinion that it's green, but I'm going to stick to my guns. It is brown, but we can still be friends or civil to one another. We cannot call out the hypocrisy of the left if we on the right are doing the same thing, are speaking the same rhetoric. You cannot call out the hypocrisy on the right if you on the left are seeking to do the same thing, if you're spouting the same rhetoric. There are good people on both sides. We must remember that. This fight is not amongst ourselves. Don't attack other Republicans because they may be swayed on other views. I mean, my best friends, some of my closest compadres are those who think differently than me. We don't agree on every single issue every single time. There's no way. I don't want a clone of myself unless to do some more work for me, because that would be great. if I could clone myself. I want somebody who's going to challenge my thoughts. I love a heated, spicy discussion, but you don't have that if you have this cultic, brainwashed mentality where your side is 1000% right and you will hear nothing else. I posted the other day, guacamole or hummus, who is king? Just as a funny thing on my Twitter. And I had a lot of great comments because sometimes I don't always want to be political. I want to do some funny stuff too and get people in, speaking to one another and use social media to be social. And I got some great answers. Personally, I can't choose. I love them both. But someone said neither because I don't eat any of that crap that any leftist, SJWs, or hippies would tell me to eat. I stay away from anything they say is good. I was like, okay, old man River. I mean, up in the Appalachian Mountains with your shotgun and your long beard. I mean, God bless you, but it's a health food. It's food. What about water? I tweeted him back. I said, what about water? What if a leftist loves water? Will you stop drinking it? So you're missing out, dude. So this is where it goes. It ends up being ridiculous. It's a joke. And, seriousness aside, because I like to be humorous about things, just stop. Okay. Don't be triggered by everything. Don't be a snowflake. Don't be a hater. Love one another and respect each other's opinions. Learn to look at the other side. Learn to look at what the other person is trying to tell you. Learn to have compassion and to spark a conversation. Now, looking at the other side, looking at what the other person's opinion is, does not mean, and I repeat, does not mean you must agree to it. You don't have to. I can hear what you have to say, but I don't have to say I agree with what you have to say. That's what the First Amendment's about. You can say it. That doesn't mean I will agree to it. I could say, oh yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I believe that's dumb, but I'm not going to call you dumb for having a different opinion than me. I'm not going to insult you, attack you, berate you, get violent, get disgusting, because it's so easy to do that on Twitter. And I feel like we lose humanity. We're losing humanity online. Even Facebook rants and stuff. People attacking, unfriending people. Come on. You can't unfriend your postman, but what if your postman has a different ideology than you? I mean, be willing to accept the other person's viewpoints. You don't have to agree with it, but guess what? You just might learn something. I've learned a lot from my friends who are across the aisle. And if you know, I've changed my mind on many issues. And it's so delicious to change one's mind. It's the simplest thing. As a spiritual being, you can change your mind like that. And it's a beautiful thing. You can go, I think I'm going to have a salad for lunch. No, wait. That veggie burger looks delicious. I changed my mind. I'm going to have the veggie burger. It's that simple. So I'm not telling you that you can't have your strong, bold beliefs because I'm a girl who has mine. But simply, if you are eating a veggie burger and the other person is eating a salad, don't insult them, berate them, attack them until they order the veggie burger. Because you might just learn more from that salad eater as you dive into your delicious bean burger patty. Shout out to all the vegans who are listening to this today. And that is the message I wanted to tell you guys. Love one another, respect one another, hold your beliefs, and don't sacrifice your beliefs. But just remember, there are good people on both sides. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. You might just enjoy listening to someone else's opinion. And Twitter-wise, try to be nice. Assert your opinion without attacking someone else. You can assert your authority, your sources. You can educate rather than attack. It's always the best way to do it. You get more flies with honey rather than vinegar. And Lord knows there's a lot of flies out there. This has been the Joy Villa Show, and I'm so glad you joined me. Hashtag Joy Tribe. Make sure you share this podcast if you like what I do, and consider a donation or a pledge. Go to joyvilla.com, click on podcasts, learn more how you can subscribe and become part of the Joy Tribe. Thank you so much. My name is Joy Villa, and this has been the Joy Villa Show.
Singer Joyvilla was the talk of this year's Grammys.
Her I Make the Static album.
Pro-life singer.
#1 on iTunes and Amazon. Political run maybe in her future.
Conservative woman who is sharing my beliefs, unifying for the country and unifying under our president. Swamp needs to be drained when Hollywood is just rehashing the same old thing and they're patting themselves on the back about it. I'd like to use the publicity for something positive. There's always going to be backlash whenever you make a bold statement, whenever you be yourself. And for me as an artist, I want to use my platform to really reach people on the level that I feel is real.
Pop culture, politics, and entertainment. This is the Joy Villa Show with your host, Joy Villa.